Hi Scorpio, this is going to be an August 2025 tarot reading for you. I'll start by pulling 3 cards to get a bird's eye, big picture overview on what's been going on with you lately and what are you working with presently, as well as what is still to come. And I will pull more cards and clarify as we go, but it looks like we're ready to start this reading. By we, of course, I mean, you, me, your guides, your highest self. Everyone's welcome. Okay, I've got the Queen of Swords. You've been holding pretty firm on your boundaries lately, protecting your peace, maybe laying down the law, dropping a truth bomb, or just cultivating a vision for the future. I have 5 of Cups in reverse coming through presently, and a beautiful embrace of the 2 of Cups. So I think in order to 10 of Cups at the bottom of the deck, activate this emotional connection and this kind of just this overflow of happiness and joy and bliss, and really to activate closeness, I suppose, and connection in your world. That's still to come. You've had it before many times. It's here at the bottom of the deck. You've reached emotional fulfillment and you know what that is like for you. And it seems like you're again on the precipice of a deeper connection with potentially a particular person in your world right now, a deeper connection maybe in all of your relationships, your friendships, your romantic, your business relationships, obviously with yourself as well, insights into your own makeup and who you are, and you're on the brink of that. And in order to fully get there, it seems like the 5 of Cups is what you're sort of wading through on an emotional level at the moment. Maybe it's still transpiring for you this August. So upright, the 5 of Cups is a lot to do with disappointment, setback, suffering, even longing and upset, and focusing on what has gone wrong here, and the spilled cups and crying over spilled milk. Even the artist has made this liquid white, so that could be what that's all about. Now turn around and those 2 cups are right there, still full. Well, maybe they've got to empty some way first. Maybe you're kind of purging some emotional and cyclical kind of patterning that runs for you. I think that's those 2 cups right there as well, Okay, so what I'm basically trying to get to here is you're working through something on an emotional level that is dysfunctional perhaps, or could be better, could be more effective, would cause you less stress and turmoil, so that you can show up and be received more authentically in your relationships, and be received and accepted more wholly and fully overall. That's just what I'm kind of getting at a glance here. The Queen of Swords looks like something kind of different to me. This looks like, basically, I want to clear it up, but I get the impression that lately things have had to be quite regimented for you, but this actually feels quite good. It feels like things are in order and running as they should be. This doesn't necessarily mean things have been predictable for you, but they have been manageable, and you are able to see where you're going. Things have just been making a lot of sense. Apart from maybe what's coming up now, the current issue around that more thorny emotional situation that's going on between you and an important person in your life, or maybe with multiple people, who knows. But let's start getting into this reading by pulling cards and going deeper. If this reading resonates, I'm going to be doing an extended version of your August 2025 reading right after this. I'll be sitting here to do that, and I'll link that down below. And it's actually probably a really good time to tune into that and join up to that community, because at the end of August I'll also be releasing a like 6-week deep dive for Scorpio for this upcoming eclipse season that we are going to be beginning towards the end of August. So that might be a good time to do that. But let's just get back to this Queen of Swords. The Eight of Swords and another Queen, the Queen of Wands. When we see a lot of Queen energy, it may suggest that your relationships or your dealings with women are or have been very important lately, and how you're getting along with or maybe not getting along with, or maybe how you are kind of making allies, friendships. You're just working, I think, overall pretty well with women in your world right now. They're teaching you, you're learning from them, and vice versa. Now, there is some sort of an example here that you have really allowed to run the show. Okay, so there's been, let me say, an example that you are used to, like a program that's running, that's very Eight of Swords here, like something is running the show here. I think that you've kind of looked to somebody for guidance or leadership. You've kind of allowed for somebody to not dominate you in a sense, but the Queen of Wands does have this like ability to sometimes overshadow or overpower at certain times. And I get the impression that you are you've outsourced something to another person, probably in good faith, but it maybe at times has resulted in you feeling somewhat disempowered, or worst case scenario, more belittled, so that you kind of withdraw from this relationship. There can be a tendency here, Queen of Swords and the Eight of Swords, to just shut yourself down instead of being more like this Queen of Wands would perhaps be more of a direct approach. The Queen of Swords could potentially just put a wall of ice around themselves, and that's kind of what I see in this Eight of Swords too, you know, like this can feel more binding, really. So it's like you entered into a dynamic, or you have a relationship in your life that you have allowed to like the dynamic here now is this person is the leader, this person is the boss, this person calls the shots and makes the choices, or kind of like sets the tone. And I don't know if necessarily that is so that they can gain the upper hand on you or anything, Scorpio, or attempt to. It just seems to be what was easier for you at a certain point now is a little bit like, you know, limiting. Okay, another way to look at this would be the Queen of Swords and your vision, right? You've had this sort of sight set on something, and as things have transpired, maybe the Queen of Wands has been you taking an action and putting yourself out there in a bit more to combat this hesitation and kind of like lingering, procrastinating, overthinking energy of the Eight of Swords. Right, okay, so maybe the Queen of Wands has been your remedy, and maybe it has come through, or she potentially has come through as an ally for you, somebody who has helped you to get this out there into the world and to be more feisty, productive, fiery, energized and sassy about what you're doing, because the Eight of Swords and the Queen of Swords can be very much like an overthinking energy. Now remember, this is in the past, so this has been experienced already on some level. I am thinking that you spent a really, really long time in Eight of Swords, so much so that it might have been. I was sitting down the other day, really. I was sitting down the other day and I was just like, not eavesdropping, but I'm literally sitting right beside these two girls, and I can feel one of the girls' energy being drained from her. Like the life of her was being drained out by this person, because you could hear her like kind of like getting short with the person in her company. And the girl in her company was just like complaining a lot about not having money, like working at this job that she's not really getting paid very well, and like it just the conversation just kept circling back to that. And I was like, I'm probably guilty of being like that girl, complaining like that, and my friends just like, shut up. But I could so just feel the energy between them, like it was so depleting for the person listening. And she's trying to give advice and like reassure, well, you know, it might not be that for that long. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is I get an energy vampire from these cards, okay? And why I say that, it's like this is so full of energy. This is like an extrovert, and this is, and I'm not saying like if you're extroverted you're an energy vampire, or if you're introverted you're an energy vampire, but I'm getting the impression, or I'm getting the feel of energy vampire here. I will leave that up to you to decide where that has shown up. You will know probably if you felt like withdrawing from somebody who you guys co-created, obviously, this relationship, it seems, where they kind of dominate, and that's been allowed. And maybe that's what the energy vampire is, I don't know, but something is zapping you. And I think like where you feel like just withdrawing, Scorpio, like you're just gonna know what I'm talking about there, I think. And I think we can all be guilty of that, like, you know, so not to just put the blame on somebody else and like, what's the word, kind of like absolve ourselves from any responsibility there, you know. It could be you too, you know, see how that fits. Okay, so moving on now to the Five of Cups in reverse, and currently you're working through something kind of tricky at the moment. You're trying to improve a situation, see it in the most positive light, and that's the thing about the Five of Cups, you know, 3 cups have spilled, but there are 2 remaining. And we have the Five of Wands, so another 5, and Judgment card. In this deck, it's actually called Awakening. Everybody else is unaware of something that a penny has dropped with you, at least. So it can be isolating, and you're like dun dun dun. Yeah, okay, so this month, it really seems like the sparks are flying this month, Scorpio. And I do get the impression that in order to complete the transformation of Judgment or Awakening, in order to kind of get there, like cross that, you're just at the precipice of like a much deeper connection in your romantic world. And at the bottom of the deck here, this 9 of Cups, just making me think of the depth of this well. Like you really are close to and like reaching the bottom doesn't sound good, but actually in this case I think like that's where you want to go. You want to kind of, yeah, like just forge a deeper connection and understanding. And like I also think that's what you want deep down as well. And that seems to be where that 2 of Cups, that was my initial feeling about that 2 of Cups, like that embrace and acceptance and understanding is just really sitting right there and waiting. But before that happens, when we're in this kind of 5 of Cups in reverse, 5 of Wands energy, we're experiencing something that is, well, definitely testing and uncomfortable. Goes without saying, as the nature of the 5s are just a contraction. But this is kind of like your triggers, the other people or person's triggers, and the 5 of Cups in reverse. It's shame, actually, I think. And then that's projection, right? So you may be getting called out, you may be calling someone out. That's the thing about this Queen of Swords that came through as well. Like, they're not going to ignore any BS. They're not going to like sweep anything under the rug. They might just retreat and shut down, and that would be more of a shadow aspect. But I think that you've entertained that, and maybe you've done that, but ultimately the Queen of Wands has been your energy kind of pushing through and being more, not confrontational, but just being more like ready to handle something or to address and to ultimately resolve and push forward. And yeah, I mean, with the Awakening card, I wonder with this blindfold, like, is there ultimately a deception here, or is there ultimately something that is an illusion, or that the issue might be that, you know, you're trying to say, oh, it's not that bad, or it's just this, but ultimately, is there something that is more serious to this? I don't know. I don't really know fully yet, but what do I think about this? I think that there is potentially something, an external force, let's say, or maybe it's something from within you, is maybe both. Maybe it's inspiring you to look at something in a bit more of a direct way, and to look at yourself. Maybe that's a really yeah, that's a signature of the Judgment card, I think, like to really see yourself clearly. And it could be via these Five of Wands, these kind of like more explosive or triggering situations that lead you to awakening, greater self-discovery, understanding, you know. It seems to be a lot about relating to others and how you get along with and what crops up. That seems to be what August is about now, at this time at least. Yeah, and I think that something has been uncomfortable or is continuing to be a source of conflict for you, a source of disagreement, contention, and I ultimately see it as probably something that's going to be kind of productive or even healing, as you deep down truly want to have greater harmony, to get along better with, to feel more included in that sort of dynamic, if it's at work, if it's in your circle of friends, if it's of course with your romantic partner as well, which the Two of Cups can be. Let's see. Okay, so just to kind of touch on the present energy, August, so far only major arcana card is that Awakening card. So the Awakening card or Judgment card is the second last card in the deck. So it is basic, it's the penultimate test in terms of, because the major arcana are sort of soul growth chapters in our life. So you're at a really kind of like almost ultimate, I think you're testing yourself, maybe you're testing your relationships, but there's like this test that you're somewhat sort of inviting in or setting up for yourself, and it doesn't seem like, you know, it seems like you're quite expert right here, and this is just a way to combat Five of Wands, past wounds, disappointments, and times that you've felt, yeah, like a loss or something like that, so that you can basically experience more vibrant and deep connections overall, in every way, shape, or form. And maybe it's, like I said earlier, just with yourself. But something in August occurs, or continues to occur, that shakes things up enough for you, or like bothers you enough to make a change, okay? Whether somebody's calling you out or you're just taking that blindfold off yourself and noticing it. Let's have a look at the Two of Cups. obviously I'm gonna move to the extended next, and yeah, those extendeds have been getting very deep, very out there. They've been very enjoyable, but if you're just sticking around for this, Scorpio, I invite you now to subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment or share. I'd really appreciate that, and thank you so much for watching. I like that, the Ace of Wands, very promising. And another queen, the Queen of Pentacles. Almost like every sign I've read for so far, I mean, you're only the 4th sign, but August ends in a much more enjoyable looking way than it started. I think that's been the case for all 4 signs I've read for so far, where the challenges seem to be greatest either entering the month or during the until I think like the mid part of August for everybody. Collectively, obviously, like this is very general. I think that things lighten up significantly after the Mercury retrograde. And then one of the like most eagerly anticipated transits is going to be going down in the middle of August. It's both benefics, Jupiter and Venus, conjoining in the sign of Cancer, where both planets are really happy, and this hasn't happened in 12 years. So maybe depending where the Cancer part of your chart is, you're going to feel a lot of benevolence, joy, ease, maybe even a lot of opportunity and expansion. So feel free to drop your rising sign if you would care to know where this kind of fortunate alignment is going to take place for you, and I can help you identify that part of your life. So feel free to do that. But yeah, that's basically why I'm thinking things ease up for a lot of people. Okay, and I mean, for me, for my example of that is like, it's probably not going to be, maybe it's going to be great for me, I don't know, but it's not really hitting anything in my chart too closely by degrees. So of course you're going to have to know if this is going to be like a close alignment to your own chart or not. It won't hurt anyway. The Ace of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles and the Two of Cups. This is very promising. This is a really affirmative way to end the reading and end August. 3 queens in the reading. If it isn't just that like you're having a great time with women in your world this month, or that you're working really well, cooperating well, all helping each other elevate. There's a beautiful sense of sorority here. If that doesn't apply, you know, and it doesn't have to be your sisters or your close friends, but just even people in your field, people that kind of, it's a supportive energy anyway. But if not, queens are the same as seeing a lot of 3s, and that would be a signifier of growth, abundance, fertility. This would be a bit more about expansion and more openings and more flow, no stagnation. So I'll take that too. Like that seems to be just a nice kind of overall sort of tone for August. But like, let's see these cards more literally. Like, okay, so an increasing of, if this is a romantic or sexual relationship, this is a lot to do with passion. This is a lot to do with attraction and chemistry, but it's really channeled in a way that is very uplifting and really exalted actually, and just really, yeah, again, productive. Like there's just a lot of life here. And then the Ace of Wands and the Two of Cups. Yeah, you know, if you are single and you're looking to meet somebody, Scorpio, why not get yourself out there? Or even Ace of Wands is a little risky sometimes. Why don't you make the first move if there's somebody that you would like to connect with? This could also just be Scorpio, if you want to get to know this person as a friend, and if you want to, you know, bring the online relationship into the world, like, and go out and have a coffee together or go for a walk, you know, just like making a move. Ace of Wands, taking a chance on this connection, taking a chance on being more vulnerable. This is all looking like really healthy overall, and that's the Queen of Pentacles, you know. The Queen of Pentacles is also suggesting that if you are maybe more so in a committed relationship, or a long-term relationship, let's say, this is a very domestic energy. So this is again just boding really well for you and the person that you live with. Maybe it's a best friend and you rent together, or maybe it's a significant other and you live with one another. It's just suggesting like it's the payoff of going through the kind of trickier energy of the beginning of August into the midpoint of August. The payoff of that is actually really rewarding. It sets a beautiful foundation for you for how things are just going to go for like the near future and beyond. And I just think that I think it looks lovely. I think it looks really, really like a beautiful end to the month for you. So I will get deeper into all of this now in the extended, but if this is all you're sticking around for, thanks for watching and I'll see you soon.